you have to alert the police. You have to make sure that this kid, whether they can go home or not, whether they're going to be safe at home or not, what is the best way of dealing with the situation if their abuser is in their home, right? Because a lot of the time the abusers are not going to be taken out of the home the same day that there's this exchange. The kid says, my parent or my sibling or whoever abused me. They're not going to be like, okay, so let's go remove this person from this household, right? These things take time, as you know. So these are nuances that we have to be aware of. One thing that nobody ever talks about, strangely, is that these kids, depending on the type of abuse, have to go to hospital. Have to be seen by a gynecologist, for example. Have to be screened for STIs and HIV. There's so many other steps that have to be taken, not just press charges against somebody, because you know yourself how long this process takes.
Yeah.
So when I was a kid, I grew up in Mozambique, and one of the lectures that I had on sex ed was by a guy who was HIV positive. So he was very passionate about prevention. And Mozambique is the second country with the most HIV prevalence in the world, right? And today HIV is more like a chronic disease, but back in those days it was a death sentence. So it's a different context, right? And one of the things he always said, and I remember this even though it was so many years ago, was, what is more important is that you are safe and that you are taken care of. So if you are raped, you go to the hospital first. You don't go to the police and you don't go into all these things. You go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And there are procedures in the hospital, and there are people trained there to take care of you. When I lived in the UK, I worked for an NGO that had like a halfway house for women who had been trafficked to be sex slaves in the UK, right? And I used to go with some of these girls to their medical checkups, and the service was incredible.
Wow.
This was in Sheffield.
Wow.
And, you know, they were very professional. They were very thoughtful about the questions that they asked. So these are people who are trained to deal with victims of sexual abuse. They're not just any old doctors, right? So if you go to, you know, a health clinic in the UK, I feel that people are generally quite well prepared for this support, right? And then you personally have to make a decision of how much you want to get involved, right? And what kind of emotional toll this is going to take on you, and what are the steps that you need to take to make sure that you are okay as you are helping this child through this process, right?